Peace and blessings, everyone. Felita Daniely here. I am coming out to you today with my first video in such a very, very long time. First of all, I want to apologize to you for my absence, for being MIA for so long. I had to take some time off, and I had to really, really focus on taking care of myself. And so with this month being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I figured that this would be the perfect month for me to get back active on my YouTube channel. So I'm excited to be back. I do plan on being more active on this channel. I'm rebranding everything. So my old channel, if you were subscribed to my old channel, I am going to be deleting that channel, and I'm going to be focusing more on growing this particular channel. So therefore, if you are not already subscribed to this channel, please be sure to click the red subscribe button and also turn on the notification bell so that excuse me, so that you will be notified when I post a new video. I make a decision, and I've made a decision that I am going to be more active, and I do have plans to post at least a minimum of one video every single week. Okay, my ultimate goal is to get back to doing at least 2 or 3, but for right now, I do promise that I can do one video per week. So I pray that all has been well with you. I wanted to come out to you today, and I wanted to share with you, for those of you who don't know my story and you don't know what I shared on my other channel. I basically initially announced it here on this channel. And I ended up starting another YouTube channel where I specifically shared my journey of going through breast cancer. So I wanted to come out and do a video today, and I wanted to, in hopes, inspire you if you have not been doing your monthly breast exams, if you have not been going in for your annual mammograms to make sure that, you know, all is clear. I hope to inspire you to take action and take charge of your own health. Okay. Just wanted to share with you my story. And it's really, really so important that we take the time to take care of ourselves, because we as women, we have a tendency to do things for everybody else, and we have a tendency to put ourselves on the back burner. And that's basically what happened with me. So I want to share with you my story. So my mother was had a stroke back in 2010, and I was actively involved in my direct sales business, my Avon business at the time. And when my mother had the stroke, I basically had to kind of step away from my business to help take care of her, to become like a part-time caretaker for her. And during that time of my life, it was very, very challenging. It was very, very stressful. Because not only did I had to focus on my own family, I had my husband, I had my son who was still in school. I had my business, and on top of that, I had the responsibility of being a part-time caretaker for my mom. And when my mother had the stroke, she was totally incapacitated. And so therefore, we had to do basically everything for my mom. We had to feed her, we had to change her diapers, we had to do all of those things. And it was challenging. It was extremely, extremely challenging. So, you know, I was not her only caretaker. I do have other sisters. I do have 3 other sisters who also participated in caring for her as well. But for me, I was the only one that had a child in school, and I was the only one that had a business. And so it became very, very challenging. So during the years of 2010 up until 2017, we took care of my mom for 7 years. My mother passed away in May of 2017. As a matter of fact, she passed away that Saturday before Mother's Day in 2017. And when she passed away, we had to go through settling her estate. And I was appointed as court. I was appointed as administrator of her estate. So during the year of 2018, I had to take care of getting her estate settled. That involved real estate, selling the property. It was a lot of work. That's all I can say. It was a lot of work. So the last time I actually been to the doctor, and I'm going to be extremely honest, was 2011. So between 2010 and 2017, that was a total of 7 years that I took care of my mother. And I only went to the doctors once out of the entire 7-year span. And that was in 2011. I had a mammogram in 2011, and it was clear. My mammogram was clear in 2011. However, during 2018, we buried my mom in May. She passed away in May 2017. We buried her. I took on the responsibilities of settling her estate in 2018. So finally, after everything had calmed down in my life, I finally went to the doctors. And I went in May of 2019. I went in for my annual physical wellness check. This was for my Pap exam. And mammogram was just totally far. It was a far distance from my mind. And I honestly didn't even have it on my radar, to be perfectly honest. So I went in to actually get my blood work done, to, check to make sure that everything was okay, functioning well, and all of that good stuff. And it just so happened that particular year, I am a member of Kaiser Permanente. And previous years, I had a doctor that I did not like. As a matter of fact, I had made a decision. I had said that when I went back to the doctors, that I was going to request a female doctor. I personally that's just my own personal choice. Nothing against male doctors. It's just that I relate better with female doctors. And so when I called in to schedule my appointment in 2019, I went in for my exam, and my doctor's assistant, she looked at my chart and she said, "Ms. Danley, I noticed that it's been several years since you've actually had a mammogram." As a matter of fact, she said, "It's been over 5 years since you had a mammogram. Let me schedule one for you right away." And that's exactly how it happened. I was doing monthly breast exams. I was doing all of those things. The only thing that was going on in my life at the time, I just know that I was extremely stressed. I had gained a lot of weight. As a matter of fact, I was almost 200 pounds, and I had never been that heavy ever in my life. And I just noticed that since I had gained weight, my bra size had increased. I was doing my monthly breast exams. I didn't feel any knots, any lumps, any discharge, any redness, any of those symptoms that are associated with having breast cancer. And so the appointment was scheduled for June, the earliest they could get me in, which was the following month, which was June. So when I went in for my mammogram, the very next day after my mammogram, I got a call back and they said, Ms. Danley, we need for you to come back in for an ultrasound and another mammogram. And I said, why? And she could not reveal any information. She said, because there was something abnormal and we want to just rule it out, that it's not, it's not anything. And, just to ensure that everything is okay. So, unfortunately, because June is an extremely busy time, I guess for some reason for mammograms or so, I don't know, but I just know during that time of the year, it was extremely busy. And so therefore I could not get in to get another mammogram until 2 weeks later. So I had to wait 2 weeks in order to be able to go in to the doctors to get my second mammogram. And so the 2 weeks came and I went in for another mammogram. And after they reviewed my charts, they sent me down to have an ultrasound. And the ultrasound did reveal that there was some type of node there. And of course, in my mind, I'm trying to remain calm. However, something inside of me knew that it was positive for cancer. And so I was scheduled on for a biopsy. And so I was able to get an appointment the following week for the biopsy. And so I went in to have the biopsy done. And the biopsy is when they take the needle and they stick it into the area where they saw, the node or wherever the problem is. They stick it into that area and they send it off to be tested at a facility. Mine was sent to Northside Hospital outside of Kaiser. And so my doctor told me, I asked her how long would it take for it to return. She said that normally it can take up, where it could take up to a week. And she said, however, I have seen it come back in is in less than 3 to 4 days sometimes. So she said, just keep your fingers crossed. So when I went in, this was on a Wednesday. And so she said, in the event, she asked me, she said, in the event it comes back early, she said, would you like for me to call you on a Friday? She said, since it's Wednesday, is it okay for me to call you on a Friday, or would you prefer me to wait until the following Monday? And I said, no, I want to know as soon as possible. So I want to ask you to, please go ahead and call me, as soon as you get the results back. She said, okay, I sure will. And so I left the office that day, just thinking to myself, just praying, God, I pray that it's not breast cancer. But then again, in the back of my mind, something was telling me, my intuition was telling me that it is positive for cancer. And so I was in the grocery store on Friday, the very same week was when I got the phone call. And when I picked up the phone, I said, hello. And she said, may I speak with Felita? And I said, this is she. And she said, Felita, this is Dr. And I said, hello. And I said, I'm almost to the point where I don't even really want to ask. I pretty much know. She said, yes, I'm afraid to tell you. She said the results did come back positive for cancer. And all I could do was cry. I remember leaving my groceries in the middle of the aisle. And I left the grocery store and I just sat in my car for about 20 minutes. And this was in the heat. And I did have my air conditioner on in my car, but I just sat in my car for about 20 minutes. And then I picked up the phone and I called my aunt to let my aunt know. And she said, I just don't believe it. And I said, you know, Aunt Moselle, I really want to say I don't believe it, but I said, I do believe it. And she said, well, just know that you are in my prayers, and you know, anything I can do for you, just let me know. So I said, sure, I sure will. And so I left from there and I went on and came home. And that was when I told my husband was asleep, and I woke him up and I told him, and he got up out of the bed and he just embraced me and hugged me. And he said, it's okay, babe, we're going to get through this together. And I am so thankful to have a man who loves me unconditionally, who was there, you know, every single step of the way. You know, he went to all of the appointments, you know, my first few appointments, he was there with me, right there by my side. But he hugged me, he told me, he said, babe, we're going to get through this together. And I said, I do appreciate your support. I'm so thankful and grateful to have you, you know, during this time. And he said, you know, I wouldn't have it no other way. I'm here to do whatever I need to do. And that was how the journey began. And so it took a couple of weeks before I was able, actually it took about a week before I was able to sit down. The way Kaiser does it is that once you have gotten your results back from the biopsy, they have a team of doctors that come in to, it's like they have you sit up in like this little conference room area where they sit down with you and they go over your results, and they tell you basically what the treatment plan is. And so my husband and I was there that day when I met with my oncologist, who I just have to, I'm so thankful and grateful that God blessed me with some wonderful doctors, because I say that I had the best oncologist in the state of Georgia. She was awesome. She listened to me. She was very concerned. That's one of the reasons why I think I really, really have this thing for female doctors, because male doctors have a tendency to just kind of push you. It's almost as if they're totally detached emotionally, and they don't really show the concern that you know, female doctors do. That's just been my experience. Now, I'm not saying all male doctors are like that, but that's just based upon my personal experience. But they gave me my treatment plan, and my original treatment plan was I was set up to have a total of 12, I believe it was 12. Yeah, it was a total of 12 chemotherapy treatments. And in my mind was, oh my God, how am I going to get through this? A total of 12 chemotherapy treatments. And so my family and I was scheduled to leave for vacation the following Tuesday. I got the news on that Friday, and we were scheduled to leave for vacation the following Tuesday. And I almost canceled my vacation, but then I decided, you know what? I am not going to allow cancer to do this to me. I am going to go on my vacation and I am going to enjoy my vacation with my family. Okay. I am going to do that. Okay. Um, so, we left for vacation that Tuesday. We came back that Saturday. We came back on that Saturday. And the following week after we returned, I was scheduled to have my port installed. Your port is the actual port that they infused in the chemo in. And you can see here, I don't know if you can see, this is my battle scar right here. This is where my port was actually installed. And that is the port where they stick a needle into the port and the chemo is infused through the port that goes through your body. It's a terrible feeling. And I just pray that nobody has to go through that because it was such a terrible feeling. So I was supposed to, let's see, we got back that Saturday from vacation and I was scheduled for my port install the following Thursday. And the Wednesday before I was supposed to have my port installed, my intuitive voice was just screaming on the inside saying, no, 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 cancel the appointment, cancel the appointment, cancel the appointment. And I was afraid because a part of me was afraid. And then part of me was like, this is your intuition speaking loud and clear. If at any time you have ever ignored or avoided listening to your intuition, this is not the time to do so. And so when I woke up that Wednesday morning, that's what I kept hearing in my spirit. It was just like something in me was stirring up in me saying, no, 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 don't do it. Don't do it. Cancel the appointment. And so I prayed. I took some time to pray and meditate. I just sat in stillness and quietness. And I prayed and I asked God, I said, God, I am feeling that I need to cancel this appointment tomorrow. And if this is of you, please send me a sign. And when I got up from my meditation and I got in my car and I walked to my car and I turned on the radio, the first word I heard on the radio was cancel. That was confirmation for me that I needed to cancel. And that's exactly what I did. I called in and I canceled my appointment. And at the same time, they were giving me, they were telling me, well, you shouldn't do this, you've got only a certain time period to get this done, da, 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 da. I emailed my doctor to let her know that I had decided that I was not going to move forward with the port installed. And so she responded to me right away. And that was another thing that I loved about her. Whenever I reached out to her, I always heard back from her within the first 24 hours. And she responded back to me and said that she wanted to meet with me, asked me to schedule an appointment so that I could come in and sit down and talk to her and schedule the appointment to meet with her to discuss my decision. And I did. I was able to get an appointment in, as a matter of fact, that following Monday. And so when I went in to meet with her that Monday, she wanted to find out why I wanted to delay my chemo treatment. And I told her, I said, it's just something in my intuitive voice just spoke loudly to me and just told me, no, cancel the appointment. And she said, well, you do realize that the longer you wait, the greater your chances are of the cancer spreading. And I said, yes, I recognize that. But I said, I just have to follow my intuition at this point. She said, I understand that. And I asked her what were my other choices. And she explained to me that that I could have the surgery done first. And during my time of healing from my surgery, that would give me time to process that I had to go through mentally, process it mentally, that, of the road ahead of me of having to go through chemo. And so I told her, I said, well, that sounds like a better plan for me. I said, I would much rather do the surgery first and then do the chemo later. So she said, okay. She said, I will go ahead and approve you for your surgery, and which she did. This was in June when I met with her that following Monday morning. So that must have been around the 30th of June or so. And so I had to reach out to my breast surgeon to schedule the appointment, the surgery, with her nurse. And unfortunately, I was not able to get an appointment for surgery until the end of August. So my surgery was scheduled for, I believe it was on a Monday, August the 26th, 2019. And so I went in to have a mastectomy on my left breast. And when I went in for the surgery, of course, I did my prayers and said my prayers before the surgery and everything. And when they rolled me back to my room after the surgery, my husband was there, my children were there, and two of my sisters were there. And while I was in the room, they had just brought me back in, rolled me up from surgery. And I was sitting there talking to my family and everything. And all of a sudden, I just blanked out. And when I blanked out, I could hear everybody in the room, but I just could not respond. And so they had to rush me back down for emergency surgery because apparently there was something that went wrong during the surgery. And I am really thankful and grateful to be alive and to be sharing this story with you, because I've never shared it publicly. My family knows about it, but I've never shared this story publicly. But going through that experience, it changed me in so many ways that it, it, I mean, I already know life is so precious, but during that time, I really thought that I was leaving. I honestly did. I really thought that I was leaving. And so I only had to stay in the hospital overnight. I was released the following day because I was doing well after that. And so when I was released from the hospital, my doctor told me that it would take about a week before I would get the pathology report back. And I had to go home with the drains. You have to wear the drains so that everything can kind of flow into the drains. And that was a nuisance, but it is what it is. You have to do what you have to do. And so the pathology report came back. I think it took about 4 days. My surgery was on that Monday, and it came back that Friday. And I was scheduled for an appointment the following week to see my doctor to discuss my pathology report. And so after going through and reviewing the pathology report, it was discovered that I was initially diagnosed with the wrong type of breast cancer. I was initially diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. However, the pathology report revealed that I was HER2 positive. So that changed the entire course of my treatment plan. So where I was originally scheduled for 12 chemotherapy treatments, it cut it down to a total of 6 chemotherapy treatments. However, under the HER2 positive treatment plan, you have to do a total of 6 chemotherapy treatments plus a total of 12 immunotherapy treatments, which are basically a walk in the park compared to chemotherapy. It's basically a treatment specifically for HER2 positive breast cancer patients. It has to go through the port as well. So I had to do a total of 18 treatments total. It was a lot of treatments, but again, the immunotherapy treatment was nothing. It was really kind of like medicine, whereas the chemo is like poison going into your body. So that's the difference between the two. But I had to do a total of 6 chemotherapy treatments, and I had to do an additional 12 immunotherapy treatments as far as my treatment plan. But that also made me so thankful and grateful that I listened to that intuitive voice that was guiding me and told me to cancel that appointment to start chemo early. Because had I gone ahead and moved forward with the chemo treatments in the beginning, I would have gone through 6 additional chemotherapy treatments, and I would have been treated with the wrong type of chemo. So when you're diagnosed with breast cancer, there's several different types of breast cancers. So it's only, it's several different types of chemotherapy treatments that you have to go through as well. So I would have had to go through an additional 6 treatments under the first treatment plan. But under the new treatment plan, I only had to do a total of 6. So that was a valuable lesson that I learned, that whenever my intuitive voice speaks like that, to always listen and follow. Yes, I recognize doctors are here to help us, and doctors are here to do their jobs. But at the same time, when we hear that intuitive voice speaking to us, I call it the Holy Spirit. Some people can call it the Holy Spirit. Some people call it the God voice. I call it my intuitive voice. Okay. And whenever we deny and we avoid and we ignore that voice, it always leads to other consequences that could have been avoided had we learned to listen. So that taught me a very, very valuable lesson, is to always listen to that voice, because that voice saved my life. It saved my life, and I am so thankful and grateful. So I wanted to just share that story. I'm going to come back on and I'm going to share some other stories with you. As a matter of fact, I'll probably just share from my other channel. Instead of deleting those videos, I'll just share them on this channel so that you will be able to see my entire journey and to understand, and to see the journey, so that, again, hopefully it will inspire you and encourage you to take care of yourself and schedule an appointment for your mammogram. Okay, so I want to thank you so much for listening. I know this video was rather long, so I want to thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening. If you like this video, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. And if you have any comments or questions, please be sure to leave them in the comment box for me as well. And don't forget, if you are not subscribed to my channel, please be sure to click on the subscribe button so that you, and turn on the bell, notification bell, so that you will be notified when I post a new video. Okay? So I want to thank you so much again for your time. Just know I love you. God loved you. Until the next time, y'all take care, take charge, and until the next video, bye for now.